Dating in today's world feels like navigating a minefield. Women swipe endlessly, hoping to find a man who meets their standards. But date after date, disappointment builds. Men argue back, saying women's standards are too high, too unrealistic. But what if neither side is entirely right or entirely wrong? There are many factors making modern dating more complicated. Shifts in gender roles, women entering the workforce, and more. In this video, we're focusing on one factor that's often overlooked and could explain why so many women feel frustrated in their search for love. Firstly, let's go back to the 1950s. Studies showed that women were more satisfied in their relationships than they are today. Despite having far fewer options, they found lasting love more often. Back then, most women chose their life partners from a relatively small pool of suitors. On average, they might have seriously dated around 4 to 8 men before marrying. This was partly because of the times. Women married young, often in their early 20s or even late teens, leaving only a few years to explore relationships. Social circles were smaller, dating was deliberate, and relationships often progressed quickly towards commitment. In contrast, women today have an endless array of potential suitors, only a swipe away on a dating app. This abundance of choice should, on the surface, make finding love easier. But here's the paradox. Despite having more options than ever, fewer women are finding lasting love. We've been conditioned to believe that more options means better outcomes. It's the cornerstone of modern consumer culture. More is always better. But what if that assumption is completely wrong? What if having too many choices is actually making it harder to find a partner? Psychologist Barry Schwartz conducted a study to understand how an abundance of choice affects our decisions. He looked at something simple: jam. In a grocery store, shoppers were presented with two scenarios. In one, they had 6 types of jam to choose from. In the other, there were 24 options. Intuitively, you'd think more options would lead to more purchases, right? But that's not what happened. In the scenario with only 6 options, shoppers were more likely to make a purchase and feel satisfied with their choice. In contrast, when faced with 24 options, people hesitated, second-guessed themselves, and many walked away entirely without buying anything. Now let's fast forward to how this plays out in today's dating world. To manage the overwhelming number of choices, women often start by filtering through superficial traits: height, income, or even whether he loves dogs but not cats. Before even meeting him, these criteria narrow their options. He must be 6 foot tall, earn 6 figures, and check all the right boxes. It's a way to simplify decisions, but it also risks overlooking deeper qualities that really matter. Even something as trivial as wearing the wrong shirt in his profile picture can lead to a swipe left. On dates, the same mindset persists. Maybe he doesn't text back quickly enough, or he replies too fast and seems overly keen. He casually mentions playing video games as a hobby, which some find a turnoff, or perhaps he doesn't like sushi. These traits aren't inherently bad, but they're often magnified into deal breakers. Small subjective imperfections overshadow what might have been meaningful connections. As women date more men, something fascinating starts to happen. One man might be 6'5", have blue eyes, and work in finance. Another might be funny and adventurous. A third might be kind, emotionally supportive, and great with kids. Over time, these traits merge into an idealized partner. Someone who combines the height and career success of one, the humor and spontaneity of another, and the emotional depth of a third. The longer the list of ideal traits grows, the harder it becomes to accept anyone who doesn't fit the impossible mold. This process of combining traits from different people into an idealized partner is like sitting down at a restaurant with a massive menu. You spot one dish and think, "That steak looks amazing." Then another dish has perfect truffle fries, and a third has creamy Alfredo sauce. Suddenly, you wish you could combine them all into one perfect meal. But you can't, you have to choose. And even after you order, you start second-guessing yourself. Did I make the right choice? Should I have picked something else? Dating today feels exactly like that. The abundance of options makes every decision feel overwhelming, and it's easy to believe that whatever choice you make, there might have been something better just out of reach. So, why does this abundance of choice leave so many frustrated? The problem lies in how our minds handle decisions when faced with too many options. Instead of focusing on what truly matters, we're drawn into the pursuit of optimization, trying to find the perfect choice. After his study, Barry Schwartz called this the paradox of choice and said, "The existence of multiple alternatives makes it easy for us to imagine alternatives that don't exist, alternatives that combine the attractive features of the ones that do exist." This mindset leads us to constantly compare and second guess, convinced that someone better might just be one swipe away. In the 1950s, women didn't have this problem. They chose partners based on shared values, compatibility, and the ability to build a life together. There was no illusion of endless choice, and that simplicity brought clarity. Fast forward to today, and relationships are shaped by a false sense of abundance. This mindset doesn't stop at dating apps. It follows us into relationships where we replay hypothetical scenarios of what could have been, wondering if we made the right choice. This illusion of perfection traps us in a cycle of dissatisfaction. The more options we have, the higher our expectations become. Yet as expectation rises, our satisfaction drops, leaving us overwhelmed and unfulfilled. This is why so many people today are left swiping endlessly, stuck in indecision and longing for something that doesn't exist. Perhaps the real challenge isn't in finding the perfect partner, but in recognizing that perfection itself is an illusion. Relationships aren't about selecting someone who checks every box. They're about building something meaningful with someone, imperfect, yet right for you. As Jodi Picoult wrote, "You don't love someone because they're perfect. You love them in spite of the fact that they're not." Letting go of the search for an impossible ideal might just be the first step towards finding something real. But the truth is, the challenges of modern dating go beyond just the paradox of choice. Societal pressures, social media, and shifting expectations all play their part in shaping today's relationship struggles. These deeper layers will be explored in future videos, so stay tuned as we delve deeper into the forces shaping modern relationships.